What's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. I'm in my career series. I'm back at it again with legal mindset. Again, Johnny Somali, being a nuisance streamer, gets another chat charge added to his other charges. So we'll see and let legal mindset, give us the news. So let's see.
Before we get into the main stuff tonight, there is other stuff that happened that's kind of comical involving Johnny. First, and this is just crazy. Well, of course, he was out live streaming. And look, I'm not going to spend too much time on what Ramsey was doing today, just because it really was largely insignificant. I did have people watching it. I always have people watching it. I do know that he spent like over 2 hours straight just coming at me and saying, talking about me. But, I don't really care what he has to say about me because I'm going to let the court speak for itself when it sends him to prison, right? So that's really going to speak for itself for Ramsey. And I know that, first of all, that I'm first and foremost in his mind because, of course, he knows this information is going to come through me. He knows it's going to get out through me. And his, ultimate failure in the Korean courts is going to be exposed, which is why he targets me so insanely and defames me in any possible way he can, which, is hilarious from him because you can't trust a word out of his mouth. But beyond that, he was out today and he did do something illegal. Now, this is not the charge that we're going to deal with, but he was out and he was with some protesters. Now, fun fact,
Ooh.
and I know this is, once again, you may not know this, but it is illegal
Uh-huh.
for foreigners to participate in political protests. So this is actually illegal. Now,
Yep.
I don't think he will be charged for it because despite all these people whining and crying about free speech, it's one of the things that's more rarely prosecuted. But once again, Ramsey is out here, doing things he shouldn't be doing in Korea. So that was one thing that happened today, another got him moment because, that's actually not okay. And also remember, it's kind of funny. He's like holding this CCP out, but yet literally every day he's glazing the CCP. He's sucking up to the CCP in Hank's apartment because Hank is a CCP fanboy. He has a PLA flag. He has a PLA arm patch, People's Liberation Army. And he's planning to flee to China. That's Hank's plan. Because he can't have a life in Korea. So he's going to flee to China. So, it's very funny. Like I said, he will do whatever and say whatever for clout and attention. And that always proves true with Ramsey. Very true, actually, with Ramsey. But beyond that, something even more, noteworthy, I guess, happened today. So he was out streaming and, this happened. And let's play the video here. Let's play the video. Um, yeah. One more time for the audience. One more time for the audience. Yeah. He got absolutely pimp-handed there, as you might say. Treated like a emotional cabbage. Out there as he
Wow.
was streaming in Seoul, South Korea. Perhaps that grandfather that he pushed, or that church that he desecrated, or those construction workers he bothered, or the ajimas that were working in the convenience store, the pyeonicham, one of their cousins, one of their brothers, somebody who knew them was like, I don't appreciate you messing with my dad, my grandfather, my uncle, my aunt. You know, 100% they're alive, got that on the streets. And that very much mirrors how he got destroyed in court today. So that is actually the second time. That's not Dalgun. This is not Dalgun. This is the second time he is clearly on camera.
And yeah, he got sucker punch Hughes. And yeah, again, going back to the protest, yeah, if you don't have a Korean passport, you can't go out there and be part of the protest, even if, like legal mindset says, is he going to get charged with that? No, but as foreigners, and yeah, I'm even a foreigner in my own country, even if I'm Korean American, but I don't have a Korean passport. So that means that's a no-no for me to go out there and protest. So yeah, and I just stick to the country I'm from with the American legal system or American protest or something. But yeah, but okay, so we're gonna see what's going on.
Um, gotten handled. Okay, so let's get to what the charge is. So some of you have guessed this, but it is related to the deep fakes. So this is the charging paper that was filed in February, right? So this was what he flashed and let us know. Hey, I have a deep fake that's been sent to the prosecutor in February. Well, if you look at the timeline, it typically takes about 2 months of investigation for it to go from the prosecutor's office to court. So that is something that it's like, okay, well, it's going to take 2 months to get from the prosecutor's office to court. Well, it's a little under 2 months, right? It's a little under 2 months. It has now come before the court. So we now have, and this is it in Korean on the top and in English on the bottom. We now have a confirmation. This is the top is the original Korean and the bottom is there. For those that don't know Korean, right? Ram is the beginning of his name, Ramsey, right? So they anonymize it in his case file. This is literally from his court file. This is from his case file. So you can see that this is, once again, unlike Ramsey, I actually know how to use Google Translate, and I, can use it functionally. Actually, for this one, I use Papago. Papago is superior. If you want to translate Korean, you should really use Papago. It's a superior app, not an endorsement, but But anyways, they censor the name. But you can see here, it's got the name in a charge, and you can see here on the bottom, violation of the special act on the punishment of sexual violence crimes. So this falls under a sex crime. So it will no longer, after Ramsey is guilty of this, whether he is proved guilty by the court or whether he pleads guilty, you can safely say, without it being defamatory at all in any country, that he is a sex criminal, because this falls under the variant of their laws that regulates crimes. So, and I want to be very clear. This deep fake is sexual because like French kissing, and this is actually some notes I have on this, I typed them. Some of them are French kissing or making out, as you might say, as the kids might say. So French kissing is considered sexual in Korean law. People who French kiss are likely having sex as well, right? Regardless of the content, distributing AI content without consent is illegal. But under Korean law, if you're French kissing, that's sexual. Streaming it for profit carries a prison sentence. Johnny can bitch about this all he wants, but it is absolutely lock. There's no changing that. So let's look at the Korean law, and this is a translation of the Korean law. This is from Case Note. So we're going to look at the one that's applicable to Johnny here.
Yep, and build your spaceship. There you go. Yep.
So this is the exact act, the special act on the punishment of sexual crime.
Ooh, so there's more to this and more, punish of, yep, there you go. So more charges. Let's go.
Right? This was a 2020 law. So obviously this happened after 2020. So distribution of false images. So that's deep fakes. So we're talking about deep fakes here, right? So there are 3 sections. Each section is different, okay? So a person who edits, synthesizes, or processes a photo, video, or audio recording of a person's face, body, or voice against the will of the subject of the video in any form that may cause sexual desire or shame. So it's sexual desire or shame. For the purpose of distribution, shall be punished or imprisoned for more than 5 years and a fine not exceeding 500 million won. So this is just for making, editing, or synthesizing a sexual deepfake or a shameful deepfake. And by the way, let me be clear. he has been creating a ton of deep fakes. And I think today he actually said, I think he said on his stream something about police being in his Discord. So they were talking about police being in his Discord, right? Because there's an open Discord, and there likely are police that have archived all the deepfakes he's made, including deepfakes he's made about Korean streamers. He's made deepfakes of me. He's made all sorts of deepfakes, all sorts of deepfakes that are sexual in nature. And once again, that comes back on him because he's been pushing that out there, marketing that, talking about that. Right. So all of that comes back on him. But the thing is, that's not where that statute stops. And the problem for Johnny is he goes even further. So a person who distributes, this is the key, distributes an edited work, composite work, or copy pursuant to paragraph 1, or a person who distributes a copy against the will of the subject, so without their permission, non-consensually, right, shall be subject to a punishment of not more than 5 years or a fine exceeding 50 million won.
Yeah.
But that's not where he's screwed. Where he's screwed is he's hit under section 3.
Oh, okay.
A person who commits the crime, so deepfake, by using an information and communication network. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Somali is receiving an aggravated sentence because he streamed it. Let me say that one more time. Johnny Somali is getting an aggravated sentence because he streamed it and because he put it on Discord, because he had to do it for the content, right? For the content. Self-own 100%. And look at how this statute is worded, ladies and gentlemen. Let's focus on this. Shall be punished by imprisonment of not more than 7 years. There is no option in this statute for a fine. Do you see how in this one it says 5 years and 50 million won? There's no fine. The only option is prison. The judge can only choose. The judge doesn't even have discretion. The judge can only send him to prison for this crime, and that's a legal. That's a legal conclusion. And by the way, there's a fourth one. In case of habitually committing the crime, because he's done it multiple times, the penalty shall be increased by half. So he could get, what is this, 7 years? So what is that, 13, 14 years? He could actually get 14 years just off of this, 13, 14 years just off of this. Now, Korean judges typically don't give you the max sentence, right? So all of you clickbait channels, 14 is the max, but I'm not saying he's going to get 14.
He's
right?
not.
So don't you write that. Don't you write that. Actually, wait, sorry. Is my math bad there? So wait, half of 7 is 3. Sorry, so that's actually 10. Sorry, lawyer math. All right, 10 years.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is he's not going to get close to doing 10 years. Yeah, he'll be stuck here in Korea, which he still is, still streaming, still doing all that crap. But yeah, then they're going to let him be stuck here for a while.
I'm not saying he's going to get 10 years, but 10 years is there. Yeah, 10.5. There you go. Thank you. 10.5. Lawyer math. Okay. So let's fix the lawyer math. Sorry, guys. I'm a lawyer. I'm not a math person. I'm not a math. Legal math set. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Streamer math. Yeah, I know. Johnny tires out my mind. So let's go with 10 years. 10.5. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but let's say conservatively it's 7. Let's say conservatively 7, because I don't know whether they're going to bring this one or not, but they're definitely bringing this one because he distributed it online against the will of the subject. He's done. This is mandatory prison. Now, let me explain 2 things about this, right? Number 1, Johnny could obviously fight it, and he would have to prove it not guilty. There's a 98% conviction rate. So good luck on that. Although I hope he tries to fight it, because the trial would be hilarious. And by the way, it'll be long. And by the way, his sentence doesn't start till it's all the way over. So I do hope he indeed does try to fight this and tries to claim he's some sort of OJ of South Korea. Because I sincerely hope he tries. That would be very hilarious. And there is obviously the option of the judge being super lenient. If this was his first and only crime, the judge might give him what's called a suspended sentence. If you guys know what a suspended sentence is, that's sort of like probation. However, here's the problem for Johnny, and here's where he's screwed. And here's how his own lawyer may have screwed him. He's already pled guilty. So he is already guilty of 3 crimes. So when they go to sentence him for this, which is the last of them, he's going to be a convicted criminal. So when they look at this, they're going to say, well, you're a convicted criminal. You're convicted of all these things. Why would I give you probation? This is not your only charge.
Yeah, and true that. And yeah, let's put him in jail as long as possible. Because sooner or later, actually, he's probably much safer in Korea than going back home to the United States. Because I think people want to get his ass in the U.S. because our laws are a little different over there. So, yeah. So there you go.
So I think the chances of them giving him any sort of probation are very low, extremely low. But that said, once again, the sentence has to involve some sort of prison. Okay, so that's the law itself. So let me do a little bit of the presentation here I got. Okay, here we go. So here's some other important factors on this, and this is very key. So we're looking at up to 7 years in prison. Could be 10.5, but let's go conservative. Once again, I'm conservative on my channel. Other channels, the clickbait channels, are going to say this is 10.5. I'm going to say 7. Let's call it 7.
Yeah.
Right? Up to 7. Let's be conservative. The biggest thing about this is that, and this is what is insane, guys. Listen to me. Like, I talked to my Korean friends today that they kind of know the law. This is unprecedented for a foreigner.
Yes.
You don't have multiple charges merged in. This charge was supposed to be in the Eastern District. They were supposed to have an entirely different trial, but they decided to move it here. And like I say in this, let me read this thing here. Now the Western District appears will handle all the charges. This is something that required a committee to approve it.
Ooh, yeah.
A committee. So a committee of people had to come together and say, we want to merge this because we're trying to get this guy, handled, right? So literally something that rarely happens had to get people together to agree to this. And when we look at his actions over the past week, are you surprised that they've done this? Are you surprised that they've escalated this, that they brought this charge? Not at all. Not.
And the thing with this, yeah, he's going to keep going. He's going to keep on going. He's going to keep, and yeah, every time he's going on social media, they're checking for him. They're like, okay, check 1, check 2, check. I mean, yeah, he pretty much is going to be stuck here in Korea. But we'll see. Or does he expect Trump to bail him out? We'll see. Let's go.
Not at all. Look at what he's been doing. Look at what he's been doing over the last week. I think he's decided to F around, and now he's finding out. Because he decided to say, oh, yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? They're going to do this. They're going to hit you with something with mandatory jail time.
He doesn't see it coming.
He's going to be behind bars for that. And by the way, they can still bring other charges. There can still be another case that comes to another district, but they've decided the deepfake, they're now going to put that on this one. I had thought that was going to be a separate trial. Another thing that's going to be interesting too. So Johnny claims to have a paid lawyer for the deepfake case, right, in the Eastern District. He claims to have one. Let's pretend he does.
Okay.
If he does, then he's got to decide who handles what when, right? And his one lawyer's already had him pleading guilty. So you can't take that back. You can't withdraw those guilty pleas. So now if he decides to fight one charge, it's going to be really weird. And you're going to have these lawyers, like if they're in the same courtroom fighting over the same thing. It's going to be very awkward and kind of, once again, unprecedented.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So yeah, he's gonna keep messing around and more charges. So he thinks, yeah, he thinks he's slick. He's getting away with this, but man, they're gonna hit him hard with this, man. It's just matter of time. So yeah, they're just like he's just basically just hanging himself, just going and going. So yeah, we'll go. Let's remain to be seen. So let's just keep stay tuned and shout out to Legal Mindset for putting out this video, and yeah, yeah, give them a good shout out there and give them a like out there. So yeah. All right. So if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please give me the HKO special. Help the king out. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you are, stay safe. And I'll see you in my next video.